Megyn Kelly is taking shots at me. Perez Hilton just won in court. Cardi B is facing a trial and she's gone viral on the internet. And I've got Carlo from 90 Day Hunt for Love in my hot seat. And oof, you best believe I'm going to grill him. Let's get into it. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. Welcome on in, everybody in the club. What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. Hey. I hope you're having... Oh, it's a long weekend. It's Labor Day weekend. I hope you guys are having fun this weekend. I hope you guys are getting lit and getting laid and doing all the fun things. I hope you are living life. That's right. Living life. Hi, guys. Happy Friday. I hope your week has been great. I hope you've been having some fun. I hope you've been enjoying the show. Been going very viral. So many people keep taking shots at me, and I've been going viral on the internet this month. It's crazy. But I did want to show you guys a little bit of love, because you guys have continued to leave me really sweet Apple Podcast reviews, which I'm very, very grateful for. I also saw that I was featured on Spotify. Yesterday, Spotify hit me up and they're like, "Hey, boo, we just wanted to let you know that we featured you." And I was like, "What?" And they did. They did indeed feature me. I'm featured on the Spotify app in the comedy podcast. I'm right under the I'm right featured in the pop culture comedy podcast tab because I guess we're so funny that Spotify thought we were hilarious. So thank you guys for watching and commenting on Spotify. I'm right there next to Chicks in the Office on Barstool Sports and Betches, the Betches podcast. So yeah, look at that. We doing the damn thing. We out here. We doing it. We doing all the things. We doing all the things. And then we did get some love on Spotify. We have Heather S. She said, "I'm out. You're too critical of the Dems. Of course he shouldn't have been outed," referring to the Crumble co-founder that I talked about on yesterday's show. She's like, "Of course he shouldn't be outed, but your positions are so insecure and pick me." Heather didn't pick me. You really think I care about being picked? You think of all of the opinions that I put on this podcast every day, even when they're hot takes or controversial takes or just go against a mainstream narrative, who am I trying to get to pick me? If anything, I'm doing the opposite of pick me. I'm basically telling people to run away, right? Because, I don't do what I'm supposed to do. I'm not a good little boy. I don't sit in line and, mark my P's and Q's. I tell it like I see it. I keep it 100, baby. No filter. That's what it is. That's what it do every day. Sorry, Heather. I'm sad. Well, actually, I'm not really sad to see you leave, but I hope you have a great weekend. Let's see. Alicia says, "I hate that Spotify doesn't allow podcasts to be blocked." Oh, that's not very nice. What happened? I thought, oh my God, you guys. I didn't realize that it's gross that one creator who outed the Crumble co-founder acts like he did that guy a favor, saying that the guy is hot, so that should be fine. Bad people. Thanks for covering this, Zach. Thank you, Naboo17. I appreciate that. Zach, just when I thought I couldn't have more respect for you. This is from Stephanie Savory. Stephanie says, "Just when I thought I couldn't have more respect for you. You're amazing. I'm so proud you stood up for this situation. Those men should never have outed him. I'm glad you called them out. You are amazing. Thank you." Thank you. I appreciate that. And then Amy says, "Please stop with the political stuff, Zach. Do you actually support the things that have been going on? I love you, but stopped listening a while ago because of your political comments." I feel like I don't really make political comments. My job is, I'm not a political commentator. I talk about like pop culture and cultural things, and sometimes they blend with politics. But like the crumble cupcake thing, like people were like mad at him, and they're like, he deserves to be outed because he may be conservative, and I'm like, that's not cool. I didn't realize that was a hot political take. Listen, when you hear me talking about the border, when you hear me talking about our fiscal responsibility, when you hear me talking about the pros and cons, the political pros and cons of tariffs, then you can be like, "Whoa, Zach, you're getting a little political." I'm just talking about cultural issues and pop culture specifically. And speaking of pop culture specifically, and blending the worlds with well, actually, hold on, let me do a quick Apple podcast shout out, because I wanted to shout out Marathon Runner times 2. Says celebrity tea plus unbiased equals Zack Peter. If you're looking for the latest tea on celebrities and TV shows without bias, this is your show. Zack Peter always brings unbiased opinions with laughter and impromptu karaoke moments. He holds nothing back, and it's refreshing. I highly recommend. Thank you, Marathon Runner. And then we have Meg Victoria, who said, "It's my opinion." She said, "Love this podcast. 5 stars. It's the first I look for to listen to. Love how certain words instantly make Zack break out in a song, because that's exactly how I am too." See, I'm not the only crazy person, right? You hear a word and then you're like, you are my fire. Somebody call 911. Fire burning on the dance floor. Oh. All right. Let's piss off a few more people. So Megyn Kelly did an episode of her show, the Megyn Kelly Show. It was on Sirius XM, and I guess it's no longer on Sirius XM. I honestly don't. I don't know what happened or what's going on with it, but it does not appear that it is on Sirius XM anymore. I think she may be independent now. But anyway, she did a new episode where she talked about Blake Lively, right? And she talked about Justin Baldoni, because she's now revealing that she was subpoenaed. And everyone's like, what? Megyn Kelly was subpoenaed since when? And so she revealed that she got subpoenaed, which Blake Lively then came out with this morning. And Blake Lively's team was like, absolutely not. We did not subpoena Megyn Kelly. And then Megyn Kelly clapped back again. And she's like, okay, you didn't subpoena me personally, but you subpoenaed the company that I work for, specifically referencing my name and my show. So yes, you did subpoena me. Maybe not me directly, but you wanted info related to me and my show and communications that we may or may not have had with Brian Friedman. Which is very similar to like Lauren Knighty, right? Or the content creators that were subpoenaed. They weren't subpoenaed directly. Candace Owens, I believe, was subpoenaed directly. Andy was subpoenaed directly, and Perez was subpoenaed directly. But the other creators were subpoenaed via X or via Google to get their YouTube data. So no, Lauren Knighty did not directly get subpoenaed by Blake Lively, but Blake Lively subpoenaed Google to get Lauren Knighty's info through her YouTube channel. So that's where, Blake's like, well, I didn't subpoena you. It's like, well, no, but you kind of did. Like, don't mince words here. And that's what we've seen Blake Lively continuously do, right? And that's where all the Blake bots are like, see, Megyn Kelly's a liar. She never got subpoenaed. And it's like, no, she was still trying to obtain the data related to Megyn Kelly's communications with Brian Friedman or the Wayfair parties. And Megyn Kelly shut that down. But there was one specific part of her show yesterday that I was trying to determine, and maybe you can help settle this debate either in the live chat or in the comments below. Weigh in and let me know whether you think this clip here. I'll read you the soundbite. Megyn wrote on her website. First, it was on her website, and then she read it on her show. She on the website reads, "News broke in July that Lively had begun sending subpoenas to podcasters and others who had said or written negative things about her, from Candace Owens and Perez Hilton to people you've likely never heard of, like Zack Peters. She targeted more than a dozen journalists and online creators, igniting a free speech firestorm." Okay, now we're a little caught up on her, from Candace Owens and Perez Hilton to people you've likely never heard of, like Zack Peters. First of all, it's Zack Peter. There's no S at the end of it. And so at first, people were like, oh my God, Megyn Kelly shaded you. Oh my God, Megyn Kelly shouted you out. And I was like, wait, what happened? What? Why is Megyn Kelly even talking about me? When you read it on paper, it does kind of feel like shade, because she's saying, to people you've likely never heard of. She could have said to, smaller creators, which I don't think listen, there were 127-ish people that were subpoenaed, creators that were subpoenaed. Not to toot my own horn or stroke my own ego here, but I think I would still at least land in the top 5. Like, I have a pretty substantial following across all platforms, right? We have over 226,000 on Instagram, over 100,000 on YouTube, over 130,000 on TikTok. Like, there's, I have I think 20,000 on X. Like, there's a following all across all platforms, right? I've, had a career long before Blake and Baldoni. I've had No Filter here for 10 years before it really became a big live stream show on YouTube. The podcast has been around since 2015. It's gotten a number of press. We've done a number of live shows. I just wrapped up my countrywide tour over the summer. I've published 4 books prior to this. I have bylines that currently sit on Pop Sugar and Men's Health, amongst a number of other websites, because I used to be a writer. My background is in celebrity nonprofit fundraising. I've raised millions and millions of dollars. I don't need to go through my resume. Sorry, I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm just saying I've been around for a minute, that I would understand if you picked like a smaller creator that was maybe new and maybe just started leaning into content, with this Blake and Baldoni situation, if you wanted to throw a shade as if, people you've likely never heard of. But here's the actual clip from Megyn's words, or from Megyn's mouth herself, and let me know if you think this is shade or if you think this was a genuine compliment.
Harassment and disparagement. Baldoni cross-claimed, saying Lively is a nasty bully who is unfairly blaming and disparaging him for the negative press she generated with her disastrous promo tour around the release of their movie back in August 2024. News broke in July that Lively had begun sending subpoenas to podcasters and others who had said or written negative things about her, from Candace Owens and Perez Hilton to people you've likely never heard of, like Zack Peters. She targeted more than a dozen journalists and online creators, igniting a free speech firestorm.
All right. The way she says it was a little shady. We have to be like, it was a little, she was just like, people you've likely never heard of. I don't have any beef with Megyn Kelly. I actually will listen to her podcast from time to time. I've had no issue with her. I feel like I've always been very nice to her. When people were upset that Brian Friedman gave her his first interview about this entire case, I was like, listen, I thought Megyn did a great job. Like, I've only been really nice and complimentary towards Megyn. Link Lauren, who has a show on her network, he's been on my podcast. We're very friendly. Like, I was like, wait a minute, what? Why am I catching strays? And again, listen, not to flex my own ego. I know who I am. I'm proud of the platforms that I have. I'm proud of the show that I have. I'm proud of the work that I've done. I don't need validation. I do choose to see this as at least somewhat of a shout out and a compliment, right? Because they wrote this and published this on her website. So whoever did write her script for her, whether it was her, maybe a staff member, or maybe somebody helped her punch it up, because usually you have staff writers that can help punch up the scripts that you write. Someone clearly knew that my name would likely help boost SEO, and that's why my name was included. I mean, they could have picked a number of over 127 different creators that they could have listed if they wanted to say somebody you've likely never heard of. I'm choosing to focus on the positive and say, hey, it's a shout out. More people are hearing my name. Zack Peters seems to be the name everybody from John Rocha to Katie Joy to everybody, to the Meghan Markle fans, Meghan Markle stans, Markle minions. Yeah, I don't know what I've done to attract so much attention this month, but I'm gonna choose to see this one as a win. Thank you, Megyn Kelly, for the shout out. Still, I would love to squash this non-existent beef, because I have no beef with her. But yeah. Listen, Jed Wallace knows who I am, and that's all I need. Jed Wallace said he loves him some Zack Peter. So, you know what? That's all I need is some love from Mr. Jed Wallace. Oh. All right. Well, on that note, let's take a very brief break to shout out this week's sponsor, and then we will get into the Perez update and the Cardi B of it all. And then we'll get to Carlo in just a bit. DraftKings Casino has your playbook for gaming action all season long. Play thousands of popular slots for a shot at jackpots. Over 400 million has already been awarded. New players get 500 spins on Huff and More Puff over 10 days. Download the app, use code NOFILTER, and claim your spins after your first $5 wager. Get in the game with DraftKings Casino, home of the largest jackpot win in online casino history. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. 21 plus. Physically present in Connecticut, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia only. Void in Ontario. Eligibility restrictions apply. New customers only. Non-withdrawable casino spins issued as 50 spins per day for 10 days. Valid for featured game only and expire each day after 24 hours. See terms at casino.draftkings.com/promos. Ends October 5th, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Alrighty, everybody in the club. Excuse me. So Perez Hilton, victory in court. Judge Lyman has officially ruled, and he is not going to grant Blake Lively's motion to compel Perez Hilton to turn over documents because guess what? He does not have jurisdiction over Perez Hilton. Ba-dum-bum, psh. So a win for Perez Hilton. Seemingly an olive branch from Judge Lyman or something to kind of offer up. Listen, I know you're probably going to get mad at the next minute or so of what I'm about to say as I reluctantly say it. But I know we feel like Judge Lyman has been biased towards Blake Lively. I agree. I think he has absolutely been biased towards Blake Lively. I think she's entitled. I think she's narcissistic. I think her ego is so inflated that she cannot fathom the negative press that she's getting. Whereas I think Megyn Kelly did a great job in saying, like, no, and I've said my disdain for you is very organic. This is not orchestrated in any way, nor was it influenced by the Wayfair parties in any way. And also, for them to put stuff out in the media or online or to build the website, like, they're allowed to defend themselves. You can't just make accusations against somebody and not give them an opportunity to defend themselves. That said, okay, the Judge Lyman of it all, listen, I know we don't like him, and again, you're going to get upset with me, and that's fine. It's me being my pick-me. Judge Lyman's job is to uphold the law, right? And not that I'm trying to defend him. I'm just saying I'm looking at this objectively, getting outside of the weeds. His job is to uphold the law. And right now, Blake Lively is the accuser. Blake Lively is the one that is lodging these allegations against Baldoni. And until this plays out in a court of law for a jury to determine, we've seen all the evidence, right? But it hasn't been formally presented before a jury where a jury has to decide what the heck is going on, right? That is the job of the jury. We're the public. We play a different form of jury. We're the jury of the world, right? But Judge Lyman's job is to fight for the underdog. So if we take Blake Lively specifically out of this case, any woman coming forth that lodges allegations against someone else, especially allegations of this nature. Now, granted, when you actually go through them, they're kind of ridiculous, right? And her case seems really weak, right? But any woman coming forth, let's say it was your daughter, take Blake Lively completely out of the situation. And we'll look at Baldoni's side in a second, but I'm just saying right now, let's just stick with the accuser, right? The person, the plaintiff in this case, Blake Lively. Or let's just not even say Blake Lively. Let's just say a woman is coming forth with allegations against a man saying that she was harassed by him and saying that he was retaliating against her, okay? A judge should take that seriously. A judge should fight for who seems to be or who should be the underdog in this situation. We know that Blake Lively is not the underdog. However, in this general circumstance, yeah, the judge should give a little more grace to the plaintiff because the plaintiff is the one that is claiming that she was wronged. The plaintiff is the one that is claiming that she was harmed in some way. So with that information, yeah, unfortunately, the judge probably should be a little biased until there's more evidence that comes forth that proves, which we're now starting to see. That's where we're at. We're in the discovery phase. It takes time to get there. Like, remember Amber Heard and Johnny Depp? That took a long time to get there, right? It was a long journey before we were finally able to get into the courtroom and before the jury and present everything. And then ultimately Johnny Depp was exonerated, right? He was freed. Amber Heard was found to have defamed him. So we have to kind of let this play out and allow things to go the way that they will. But if anything, this is, Judge Lyman allowing Perez to handle this subpoena matter out of Nevada, I think yes, is a win for Perez. Good for him. He got what he was fighting for. But also, it's kind of, it shows that maybe Lyman is not trying to be fully biased, but to a degree, if your daughter was in Blake Lively's position and was genuinely harmed, I don't believe Blake was, but this is kind of the issue with her, right? Is she's using this circumstance where you should absolutely side with the person that was wronged or claims to have been wronged, harassed, and retaliated against. You should absolutely side with them. I think in a general circumstance, we would absolutely be like, yeah, we believe the person that was wrong. We believe the underdog. We believe the victim. But when you actually get through the details, you can see she does not appear to be the victim. She definitely appears to be the bully in this situation. This definitely appears to be a David and Goliath situation. So I get our frustrations with Judge Lyman. I'm still very frustrated with him, but I'm hopeful that this will come to a full circle moment in the end. I still don't believe he's paid off in any way, but I do believe there is some bias. But I think that the bias, I don't think is justified, but it's at least, when we take our personal feelings out of it, it's at least a bit understood, right? We understand why he's choosing to side more with Blake because, again, she's the one that's claiming to be the victim, right? So the defendant, there's more burden, for them to have to defend themselves. Those are just my 2 cents. Drag me, Monique. Okay, congrats to Perez. He got his jurisdiction issue resolved, so he doesn't have to fight Lyman. He's going to be battling this out in Nevada, and hopefully he will fight, and a Nevada judge will determine that Blake Lively it does not get to subpoena him, and he does have protections. I hope he hires an attorney. I don't think he should be doing this all on his own. I think the smart thing for him to do is to hire an attorney. I understand it's very expensive, but listen, a lot of content creators had to figure out a way to hire attorneys, start GoFundMe, crowdfunding accounts, ask for donations, super chats. Candace Owens was selling merch to help pay for her legal fees. So as creators, we do have options. We do have resources that we can utilize, and I know the audience will continue to show up for us. And I believe if Perez was like, hey, I'm going to sell some, Blake Lively t-shirts, what is Plantation Khaleesi t-shirts, I'm sure people would buy them in floods because not only do they want the t-shirt, but then they also get to help and support Perez at the same time. Cardi B is going viral. Woo, Cardi B. She's going viral in court because this is funny. She is being accused. Well, she's on the stand currently. She's testifying, but she was accused by a security guard. I believe it was at her obstetrician or her OBGYN appointment. There was a security guard in the building, and she got into some sort of scarfuffle with the security guard. I think that this is really funny because not only are we seeing these clips that are going viral of Cardi on the stand, I think that this was funnier than when Johnny Depp was on the stand. And maybe we'll do a full episode if you guys want. If you want to cover the Cardi B trial, dive more into it, whatever, I would love to. I'll probably do an Instagram reel about it to kind of catch everybody up to speed. But basically, the security guard is claiming that Cardi B scratched her, that she assaulted her and scratched her face while they got into this heated argument, right? And so now the security guard is suing for, I believe it's $24 million. She's trying to get out of Cardi B for scratching her on the face. And it's like, okay, Raquel Leviss, sit down for a second with your permanent damage to the scar on your eyebrow. So it's just kind of funny. It really is. But Cardi has been like, what do you mean? Like, she's clearly bigger than me. And then the attorney's like, what do you mean by that? Did you call her fat? And Cardi's like, no, I didn't call her fat, but I called her a bitch. Like, this is give me some popcorn and some wine. I could watch this all day. Cardi's like, clearly, like, I couldn't beat her up. She's like, I was pregnant. The attorney's like, were you disabled? And she's like, I would say I was disabled when I'm pregnant. I'm absolutely disabled. You think I can defend myself and fight the security guard? Her job is to keep us secure and not fight with me. I actually think we have photos of Cardi and the security guard. Listen, because Cardi was staring down the security guard. The security guard, I don't know how tall the security guard is. I'm assuming taller than Cardi, because Cardi was like, I was 130 pounds at the time. And Cardi's tiny, right? Even pregnant, she's tiny. I would think pregnant with the belly, that would be more constricting. It would prevent. Well, didn't she get into a fight at the Vanity Fair party? Wasn't that? Wasn't she pregnant there? Cardi B Vanity Fair party fight. Oh, was it the Oscars? Um, when was that? Was it Cardi and Nicki? Yeah, Nicki Minaj and Cardi B fight at the Plaza. Harper's Bazaar icons got more entertainment than they bargained for at New York Fashion Week. And it was I guess she wasn't pregnant there. And she got into a fight with Nicki Minaj. I don't think she was pregnant here though. So she was very pregnant when she allegedly got into this fight with the security guard. I mean, the security guard looks fine, right? Like, I don't think there was $24 million worth of damage that was done to the security guard. And that's crazy that she's even suing for $24 million. And I think the attorney even asked Cardi, like, do you think that there's some sort of a benefit that my client gains? And she's like, well, yeah, I would think so. So she's suing me for $24 million. That sounds like a benefit to me. The clips are hysterical. You have to go on TikTok or on Instagram and watch them. It's chaos in the courtroom, and I kind of low-key love it. But you can also live stream it on Law and Crime. You can watch the trial. I believe Cardi is still on the stand today. I think today might be her last day of testimony. So go and check that out. It's funny. It's great. I'm here for it. Team Cardi. Team Cardi B. Okay. Let's get into my interview with Carlo from 90 Day Hunt for Love. So you remember my interview with Elise from 90 Day Hunt for Love. If you guys are in the TLC 90 Day universe, Carlo is in my hot seat. We heard Elise's side, and then Carlo reached out, expressed wanting to tell his side of things, and I said, you know what? Sure. Let's hear what you got to say, Carlo. Let's hear it. So it's actually juicy. We talk about Elise. We talk about Tiffany. We talk about recovering fuckboy syndrome. We talk about therapy. It's actually a really fun interview. So stay tuned. Check it out. And if you haven't done so yet, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and drop a comment below. I want to know, do you think Megyn Kelly was shading me? I love you guys. I appreciate you. Have a great weekend. Enjoy my interview with Carlo. It's very, very juicy and funny, and I think you'll end up really liking him by the end of this, especially if you watch that finale and then the tell-all reunion special. Also crazy, crazy, crazy. All right. Love you guys. Have a great weekend. Enjoy my interview with Carlo. This is No Filter with Zack. All right, he went on a hunt for love and came back single. And not only single, but he came back with a few beatings. He's got a few scars, and he's now going to be sitting in my hot seat. Please welcome from 90 Day Hunt for Love, the one and only Carlo.
Thanks, Zack. I woke up as the most hated man in the 90 Day universe today, and I appreciate you having me.
So what brought you into the 90 Day universe to begin with? Were you familiar with the franchise? Did you just want to hopefully, find love on TV? Like, what was your introduction?
So I had never watched 90 Day Fiancé once in my life. Of course, I've heard of it. It's a very popular franchise. Yeah. So I'd never known anything about the show. I got an email talking about a dating show, and I figured, being 38 years old, and it's something that I kind of always wanted to do, this would probably be my last opportunity. I've tried lots of other things.
There's the Golden Bachelor.
Come on, please don't do me like that. I figured, hey, why not? Tried everything else. Why not try a dating show?
Okay. And so you just figured, let me apply and just see what happens.
Yeah, I was really hopeful for this thing. I came in with the best intentions, and I was actually an alternate to begin with. And I ended up getting called last minute, and I was like, shoot, maybe this is a sign not to go. I'd had a dental thing I needed to do, and a lot of obstacles, and I got them taken care of last minute, and I went on the show.
Now, was entertainment something you'd been interested in pursuing in the past? Were you like a failed actor turned Uber driver? What's your trajectory?
I mean, I liked acting as a kid. I think I've always been interested in performance. I love sports and things like that. And I always thought it would be cool to be on TV. So in a way, this was really a dream come true. Maybe not the way that I dreamt it exactly, but it was still something that, I always wanted for sure.
Would you say it was worth it?
I think the experience is worth it because it taught me a lot of valuable lessons. Being able to look at yourself on camera, it's not like a mirror, it's a magnifying glass. And you see things like really, really clear that you might not have before. And a story is told that, might not be your truth, but it could be someone else's, like whether it was they only picked up a few pieces or like this is how they actually felt during it. Like I think there's a lot of sides to every story that I really didn't consider before this.
Did you expect to come out finding love?
I did expect to find love. I was at least hopeful. I thought that this would be a motivator at the very least. Like, okay, I'm someone who maybe I'm getting in my own way, and that this, like, if I find a connection here, like, it might be kind of public, and this would be something that might motivate me to go the distance with someone.
Now, Elise was on the show.
Yeah.
She said that you guys had a very deep friendship prior to hooking up, prior to dating. What's your perception of how your relationship started?
Yeah, I saw that interview, and to me, that was a very accurate description of our relationship. When I first met Elise, we were at the masquerade party, and like I kind of thought like this girl is like too good to be true, and that like she must be like a plant from, production or something. I'm like, this beautiful girl is like really interested in me, and she's saying all the right things. And then she went over to talk to Rob and had their little thing, their makeout or whatever. And like I was like, you know what, fine. Like obviously she's just saying this to everyone, so it's not for me.
Yeah.
And I wrote her off initially. And a few days in, we started getting close because we lived next door. And it became this friendship where we'd hang out every night. It started with like secrets and rumors and things like that. And it progressed to like deep talks about our family and history and our lives in general. So it was this really deep relationship. We, kind of come into each other's rooms whenever. We became best friends at the resort. And I think the romantic part just kind of snuck up on both of us.
And now she said that your hookup, she maybe overinflated it for the cameras. And apparently, according to you, it was great.
It was. I mean, it was fine.
So you stand by that. You would say Carlo's great in bed.
I mean, yeah, he's fine. He's not the best. He's not the worst. He's like, I tried to boast him up on like the show, like making him feel good for me to get put down. He was fine. Like he was fine. Clearly we had more sex than that night, but yeah, it wasn't horrible.
So
your performance was she critiqued.
It's really funny. The reason I found out about this is because like a friend, like a female friend, totally like nothing there, was like, hey, look at this. Elise is like trashing you. And I'm like, she's not trashing me. Like, when a girl like loves you, you have the biggest dick in the world. And when a girl hates you, you have the smallest dick in the world. So like, I think, yeah, like the sexual experience was great, as it usually is for like the first time or second time with someone. So I just think it's the mindset that you're at, like when you're describing it, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, she kept coming back for more.
I mean, she did. She did.
So now let's talk about Tiffany. Were you really into Tiffany, or was that like you kind of feeling a motivation to date other people, on the show and maybe kind of build connections elsewhere? Or was there something genuine there?
So I was paired with Tiffany in Dating 101, and that was a genuine connection. Like we were definitely feeling each other, and I don't think anybody can really be like that was, manufactured. Like we had a lot in common, and dating coach Tanya said, hey, do you want to go on a date? I was like, great. Yeah, that's why I'm here. Like I want to go out with someone. We had our initial first date and it went really well. Like I said, had a lot in common. You could tell that she's got kind of an aura to her. She's kind of the queen bee of the resort, really has a gravity. So I did feel a connection. And like, given I think given our circumstances, Tiffany was definitely my top choice to begin with.
Okay, and this is where you got yourself into trouble.
Yes.
Because you were talking to both of them, and you were clearly telling them both how much you cared about them, were interested in them, kind of seemed to give them each the impression that they were endgame.
So, I mean, Elise and I, the way we started was like, I think I was about a week in telling like, hey, I'm kind of like frustrated with this situation. I think I was 1 foot in and 1 foot out with Tiffany, and maybe I should have been a little more clear on that. Again, I felt like it was the best option for me at the time. So Tiffany and I were keeping our options open though, and I think it probably meant something a lot different for a single as opposed to like a 90-dayer. And yeah, I mean, I think in general, my communication should have been more clear. I said that I was interested in other women, and I never mentioned Elise's name, so that may have blindsided her. Like I said, though, those feelings kind of crept up on me, and certain things about like the friendship, like I noticed myself maybe like looking at her when, I didn't before, like, and I'd see myself just, I'd be jealous, like she was on a date with someone else, and I was jealous. So like, I this week or so into it, like I didn't really realize like I was, in this like falling for Elise phase.
Do you think you led both of them on?
I mean, I think I led Elise on more. Obviously, we hooked up, and like, that was really fast for me. I think you can see I was, easing into it, even at the point of being like, oh, it's a friend date, and to have sex that same night was like a real shocker for me, and like I knew that like even beyond me that this is like, oh, I'm gonna seem really, like not a good guy. Like he sleeps with someone on the first date.
So are you not a one night stand type of guy?
I've definitely had my period of life of one night stands, and that's something that I was trying to get out of by going to this resort. I think that's the type of behavior that really sets me back further than it's moving me forward. Like, that said, though, I was excited about Elise. Like, it wasn't like a one night stand where I wanted this girl out of my room. Like, she had left, and
I think the challenging part with these shows too is people forget like the intention of the show, and the motivation of the show is to date around, and sometimes you're going to sleep with other people and you're going to catch feelings for other people. So it does kind of get messy because that's the nature of the game. It's like getting on the football field and then getting upset if somebody gets their ankle broken when you know the risk of going on the field and your job is to tackle each other.
It is, and there's so much of that going on. It's about the communication, and that's where I really struggled, is that I, failed to communicate in proper way where I was at with each of them. In fact, like I downplayed where each of them were at in my life I think it was to help make them feel more secure.
Now, do you think that communication style is something you've always struggled with, or just the environment maybe changed?
I think this environment, that is a struggle that I deal with, and this environment intensified it, because it was like this really high school type thing of like telling rumors. Things are moving extremely quickly. We have a limited amount of time there, and it's like, okay, I better make this decision really quickly. And then it's like, oh, but I don't want to hurt this other person's feelings. And then I end up hiding certain things, which end up hurting them way worse in the end.
Now, poor communication skills is typically a red flag associated with fuckboys.
Oh.
Would you put yourself in that category traditionally?
I would say I'm a recovering fuckboy. Okay. Like, I haven't been in that type of dynamic since the show. Okay. Like, which was filmed almost a year ago at that point. Like, I'm totally a recovering fuckboy.
How do you define that? Because I feel like fuckboys usually try to rehab their image by saying that they're recovered, but what does recovered mean to you?
So to me, it's, to recover is to like stop treating women like they're disposable and start thinking about like what they want and maybe asking them those things. Yeah. And prior to that, maybe ask myself what I want. Like, am I going to feel good about this in the morning? And like, look at things in a bigger picture. I'm able to do that in many parts of my life. And, unfortunately, like romantic relationships was on display where it was instant gratification. And I'm hoping to look at it as a long-term picture and do the right things for myself.
Let's talk about the finale. What did you think when Tiffany ultimately chose Rocky over you?
So I was happy for Tiffany choosing Rocky. In fact, we had spoken about it the night before. We'd had our official kind of breakup off screen, and I kind of wanted to have that conversation before it happened on screen. So
you saw it coming that she was going to be picking Rocky in the end.
yes. I mean, I had said that,
Now, is that because she dumped you, or you decided that she wasn't the choice for you? Like, what was that conversation that you guys had off
so
camera?
she was like, I was basically like, so behind closed doors, Tiffany and I were still very close at the end. And like, when the cameras turned on, she kind of turned into a different person. And like, and I was still really trying. Like, I knew that like I had done something wrong with her, but I could see that there was this struggle between me and Rocky. And ultimately I decided like I wanted to drop out of the race. And that's what I told her. And
Now, is that because you were afraid of losing to Rocky and your ego would have taken a hit had she picked him in front of everybody? Or is that because you felt that they had a stronger connection?
no, like, it's really none of those things. I think it was more of a personal thing where, to me, I was still taking this whole thing really seriously. And if I had chosen Tiffany, like, the stakes were so high at that point that I should be like, following up and going to Maryland and seeing this thing through, giving it a chance. And I didn't think I was going to do that.
So did you have a first choice?
So after we had this conversation, I told Tiffany I wasn't going to choose anybody. And I ended up speaking with Elise later. I was like, hey, like, we can be friends again. We talked some things out. Like, I had seen her earlier that day and she was really excited. That like, I think Elise was really excited that like there might be an opportunity to get this thing back together. And I got excited about it as well. And we decided that night that we were going to leave together.
You and Elise.
Yeah. So it's funny. I come to her room with like a bucket of beers from the bar, and like there's a camera in her room. She's doing a confessional, and like it was completely like this whole conversation. I was like, hey, like I just had like this talk with Tiffany, and we're not together anymore. And like like definitely you're the first person I wanted to see because like you were my best friend here. And again, I think like maybe I walked into that. Trying to like like not be alone basically and see my friend and not really thinking like, hey, maybe there are still romantic feelings there and like this could be something.
So you were just going to hang out.
Yeah, I was going to hang out and
then that ultimately led to a realization.
I kind of realized it earlier that day, I'll be honest, that like I was like, wow, everyone here hates me except Elise. And
so might as well pick her.
No, like it just like I guess all of the doubt that I had that Elise might be this like huge social party girl outside of this, all of the fears that I had, like, oh, professional athletes and all that stuff. I was like, wow, like that might not be true. Like she really cares about me even after like I've kind of screwed her over. So like I saw how much she cared about me and I guess I thought about it and like I knew that at some point I wanted to reconnect with Elise. I just figured like it might be kind of risky doing it the last episode and we went for it.
I get the impression that you're maybe a bit impulsive with your emotions and you kind of just lean into them in the moment. And I think that gets you in trouble sometimes.
Definitely. Like I think I've been labeled like a manipulator and things like that. And it's true, but it's not like, it's not deliberate.
Yeah.
Like you can see like my brain isn't like concocting these plans or whatever. It's happening very much in the moment. And
I agree with that. Watching the show, I would not say that you were the manipulator in the situation. I think other people were good at kind of stirring the pot and moving the pieces where they wanted them to lay. And I think you being very impulsive and kind of just letting your emotions dictate your decisions in the moment without thinking them through. And I think that's something you can maybe work on, is thinking things through and maybe the reaction from the choices that you make. But I think you were an easy target to then pile-on, which we'll get to the tell-all in a second. But Elise says that, she broke up with you after the show. And I know you posted a really sweet montage on Instagram of all of the photos of you guys together. So can you tell us what happened after the finale? You guys left together.
Yeah.
With a lot of trepidation from some of the other people on the show. How long did you guys date? How did the connection pick up? Where did it go? Why did it end?
So I flew back to Miami with Elise, and we stayed there for a few days. We got to know each other even better. We kind of cut ourselves off from society because we were both super broken from this resort and everything that had happened. But we were really there for each other. I flew back to LA and she came out a week later or something like that. And we have all these really sweet memories. We were pretty codependent to begin with. I think Elise was kind of, she's scared I'm going to abandon her again.
Yeah.
And I was super, scared as well. I think leaving in that broken state, and I was super anxious, trying to make it up to her. I'd send flowers and things like that every day. And it was unhealthy, and we both weren't in a spot to really make a real relationship work. So ultimately we Elise broke it off with me. And
what was her reason?
We were just fighting
About?
Tiffany came up a lot. It seemed like that was a big thing.
Have you had any communication with Tiffany after?
After, I didn't have, you'll see, I'd blocked Tiffany, and we weren't in contact until we both started filming BTS together, and then it was all good. I just think it was a betrayal, and it was very challenging to get past, particularly in the state that we're in. Elise had felt publicly humiliated, as did I, and just going through something really difficult like that, doing all of those things on camera, having the fear that it's going to be in millions of people's faces, it was just not a good place to start a relationship.
Now, at the tell-all, we got some text messages. On the show, we heard you say that you thought Elise may have been a bit slutty, which was already, came with a big reaction from the audience. And then we get the text messages where you call Elise dumb. You say that Tiffany is unattractive. Where did these comments come from?
I mean, that definitely, those things were coming from a place of, I think, ego, and then also trying to prop the other girl up to make them feel secure, and just doing it in a really dumb way.
By putting the other one down, you wanted to make them feel.
Exactly. And, it was a little bit a product of the environment and how people were interacting in that show behind each other's backs.
Yeah.
I certainly was up there with the worst of them, though, as you can see. And I certainly got really in the mix, and it was oh, okay, we're going to talk shit about her to make her feel better. And yeah, obviously it wasn't very forward thinking, because those, they didn't age very well given my back and forth there.
So was there a culture of kind of shit talking each other?
Yeah, there was shit talking going on. It was rampant, and it was a very high school environment with some of the OG characters being the cool kids, and then there were some dorks, and then there were and even amongst the singles, I think me, Cole, and Elise were a little singled out and being oh, okay, you're more involved with them, but also there were these cool kid 90-day people who might not want to elevate you to where they are. So we were. It was a very challenging experience, I think, that Cole, Elise, and I had.
Yeah.
Where we're a little bit alone on this journey, and it's cool and all, but we don't really know our place.
Yeah. So do you think Elise is slutty and dumb?
No, I don't think Elise is slutty and dumb, and I should never have said that.
Yeah.
I definitely said things out of turn, and I would love to take them back. I know that we've basically lived this 3 times over, and it hurts just as bad every single time to see myself saying those things about her.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would do anything to take them back.
Now, is this common vernacular that you're using when referring to women, or
No.
where did this kind of...
I mean, look, when I told my friends and family about some of these things, they were completely shocked. And I this is something where I'll admit, look, this is something you would never see me do outside of that. That said, like I get a taste of it and I can get very like deep into this like environment. So I think that that's what happened for me, and I definitely took it too far sometimes.
Do you feel like anything got twisted out of context? Because everybody kind of started being like, well, he said this and he said, like, you kind of got piled on at
exactly.
the tell-all.
Like some of these conversations were initiated or certainly propagated by the audience that I was speaking them to. So I don't want to go into details about
Well, I mean,
that.
listen, let's also be clear. Nobody in those messages or was anybody that was on the receiving end of any of those comments was like, hey, Carlo, maybe you shouldn't speak like that. Hey, maybe. Like, nobody seemed to be shocked or fighting back or putting you in your place, that it kind of seemed like a convenient moment for everybody to then...
They got me.
Yeah.
They got me. And look, you know, I can understand, like, especially watching back. It's like,
yeah, and not to excuse it, but
it's not who I want to be. And look, I know that little like gotcha moment was preordained. Immediately though, I thought like, damn, these people like really, really care about me. Like if they went to all this trouble, these hours that they planned this thing out, like they all really care about me. And maybe this didn't come from a place of love.
Yeah.
But it is going to be one of the most important lessons of my life.
Well, I mean, not only that, but you got a very small segment, whereas everybody else got to stay on the tell-all the entire time.
Yeah,
that felt a little, just as a viewer, I was like, it's interesting that he was such a big part of the show.
Right.
And then we only bring him out for this one moment that everybody then seemed ready with all their ammunition to throw on the table.
It was crazy. So I had to work, so I couldn't be there one of the days. It was like, this was filmed like in the middle of the week, and the round trip is like, oh, okay, take a week off work to do the tell-all. And to me, like, I'm not going to risk my job over that. You know, I know what tell-alls are about. And like, you could see, like, I wasn't the guy to go there and like at the time I'm in the middle of like 3 months sobriety and like a lot of proactive like health stuff. Like I had no desire to like, you know, go sling mud at people. And I think that they kind of got that vibe that I wasn't really feeling it. And production didn't set this up. Like they didn't. So my producer was completely like off guard. Now the EP may have known that it was happening, but this was all like last like minute type set up by them. So like that's what's kind of crazy about it. Like like I was supposed to just be on one of the days at tell-all. I think that they just saw like, and they made the call right there. I mean, it sucked for me. I was like out there for like an hour, but I think they saw and they made the call right there. They were like, all right, take him off. He's not even fighting back. This is just not even fun. Like these guys have him dead to rights.
Now, there was a rumor that was going around about Tiffany saying that she was never single during the show.
Yeah.
That she had a boyfriend the entire time. So watching the tell-all, it did feel a little convenient that she suddenly... things didn't work out with Rocky, and she happened to connect with the guy that she was dating before the show, and they just happened to not be dating throughout filming of the show, but then they reconnected after the show, and the guy she chose, it didn't work. Like, it felt a little convenient. What did you think of those rumors?
So that rumor was going on at the resort, and like, it's funny because that's where the stuffed animals came in. Like, I gave my bear to Elise initially, who had heard that, and said, don't tell anybody about this.
Oh, Elise told you about that rumor?
Elise told me about it. And to tell you the truth, I kind of brushed it off because...
And this was at the resort?
At the resort. Like, it stung a little at first. And, like, but it was kind of at the time where I was, like, 1 foot in and 1 foot out on Tiffany. And I was like, all right, whatever. Like, I will say, though, like, our first couple dates felt, like, extremely genuine. And, like, I never would have imagined that.
So why continue to pursue Tiffany, and why not confront her with this information if this was the rumor that was floating around at the resort?
So I couldn't confront her because the bear was with Elise, and it was a promise that I made to Elise not to tell, and she needed collateral that I would not tell. So that was why I couldn't say anything about it. I did eventually confront Tiffany about the, and she said that it wasn't true. And, like, I believed her.
How did Elise find out about the rumor?
She had a source, an inside source, I'd say.
Okay. And what did Elise not Elise, Tiffany just said that it wasn't true, that she didn't have a boyfriend?
Yeah, she said that that's not true. They said that it was a test to see if Elise would like spill the beans. And I really don't know. There are rumors about all of them. I think the way that that culture is, like, it wouldn't surprise me if someone from that universe had something and then decided to upgrade.
In what way?
Like if they met someone, like I think it could start out as work, and if they met someone that was more of a connection, that like, you know, they could see it through for another show.
Yeah. Well, talk to me about, it was the bear, right?
It was. So
what I need the backstory on this bear and how it became so significant in your life.
I brought my stuffed animals because I knew I was going to be away, and I just kind of wanted something to hold on to. I knew it could be like tough emotionally.
How many stuffed animals do you have?
I have Mr. Bear and Bun Bun.
Okay.
So Bun Bun is like probably had since infancy, and then Mr. Bear came in the picture at like 1 or 2 years old. So basically, like Bun Bun's like my invaluable possession, and Mr. Bear is like number 2 in command there, and that was collateral, and like you could see his like, you know, eyes like popping out and stuff. It's crazy. So she knew like, okay, he really means he won't tell anybody if you know, he gives me this bear.
Okay. How do women typically respond to the stuffed animals?
Women think it's cute.
Yeah.
And like, you know, they're like, wow, like he's had these his whole life. He must take good care of things.
So now to play devil's advocate, though, with the bear, with, you know, the bunny, being that you know that this clearly is a shtick that works on women, is it fair to assume that maybe that is kind of part of the shtick, or these stuffed animals really mean that much to you?
They mean quite a bit to me. Like I knew I was going for 3 weeks, and like I thought it might be like a little something, but they literally are on my bed every single day.
Okay.
And like it wasn't that weird. They're small stuffed animals, and like if I were going anywhere for like a month or so, I probably would take them with me.
Like safety blanket.
Like safety
Security
blanket. It's like, what if like my place burned down while I was gone with them in it? That'd be crazy.
See, maybe you're not the villain that they try to portray you on the show.
Thank you, Zack.
Do you feel like you were the villain of the season?
I think Jen obviously is the villain of the season, and
oh yeah,
I definitely think that I'm misunderstood. I think I struggled with communication. I struggled in knowing what I want, and I definitely struggled with considering others' feelings in both of those areas. Letting them know where I'm at and like, you know, what I want from our relationship. Like that's something that I want to improve on and what I want as a part of my life.
What's your dating life like now?
It's pretty much non-existent. Like I'm working on myself quite a bit. So
define working on myself.
So I went to therapy for like 6 months after the show every week.
Okay.
What I also did, Elise and I...
Had you been to therapy before?
Yeah, but like I hadn't been in a couple years.
Okay, so
obviously. Look at me.
What made this therapy session different from previous attempts?
I think that, like I said, like it felt very magnified what was going on in my life at the time, and some of the struggles with like impulsivity and not knowing what I want, and the way I communicate. A real focus, I would say. Elise and I also started seeing Tanya, the dating coach, because we had challenges in our relationship. So after we stopped dating, I continued to see Tanya as a life coach, and Tanya helps me focus on, you know, with activities and exercises and different points of view on what I want out of life and really prioritizing what's important to me. And that's been super, super helpful in you know, getting me closer to ultimately finding my partner.
Okay. And so now, what is your approach to dating? Picking up girls at bars? Are you on Tinder? Like,
I'm not on dating apps.
Okay.
No dating apps, which was big for me before the show. Haven't been on a.
You were on all the dating apps before.
I guess like Hinge or like Bumble maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, I was definitely using dating apps, and that was not successful, and bars have not been successful. So it's like learn my lesson, and like I'm joining communities. Like I just did Run Club yesterday.
Okay.
And I think like, yeah, I want to get to know someone better before hopping into bed with them, and also substantiate like a relationship. So it's like, okay, like we have something outside of, this romantic thing. So maybe we can build on that after the friendship. I think that that's something that Elise and I had that was really good.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, we can take a step or two in between like that great friendship and like hooking up.
So you joined a run club.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I'm training for a triathlon as well. So I joined like this swim club last week too. So I'm trying to get involved in like more of my interests and find someone who might be compatible with those things, just to be involved with communities and activities.
I feel like that's a better way to approach dating. I hate the apps. I deleted all of the apps. It fully deleted the profiles. Like I was like, I can't, like this is such a soul suck for me. And then I don't want to meet somebody out at a bar because I feel like even then, like, what is your lifestyle? You go out every night and like I want to make sure that our goals are in alignment. So I do like to use the gym to meet people. I've had my roster at the gym. I don't recommend it, but it happens. But yeah, I think dating needs to be more intentional.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I'm happy to hear it. Like at a certain point, if something's not working for you, then like, it's insane to continue doing the same thing. And I feel the same as you with like dating apps, how like soul sucking it is. It's like rejection and then ghosting and then whatever, like, upgrading, whatever. That culture in dating apps is not working for me. I know it's great for some people. I've met a couple really cool people. And then like bars are almost the exact same thing, to tell you the truth. Like you're like looking at a very limited focus of who someone is, whereas getting to know them through an activity or shared interest, like it's not as immediately gratifying, but like, hey, like, it has more of this like intention of giving as opposed to like getting. And I guess that's what I'm trying to focus on as well.
Okay, so you're still in therapy, or you wrapped therapy?
Wrap therapy up.
Okay, but you still have your life coach.
I do.
Okay.
I've seen Tanya every single week since the show.
Okay.
Just saw her yesterday.
And that's been helpful?
Very helpful. I think for me, I'm actually a more coachable person than a just like talk about things type.
Yeah.
So that's
I hate talk therapy.
Yeah.
Give me guidance. Tell me what to do. Point out my red flags. Like throw it in my face so I can see it and then I can address it.
Exactly. So she's super blunt with me, and she comes from a very similar lifestyle where she had this like duality. She's she was in the city, she's a professional, all this stuff, and she's also trying to be someone for her parents, and really to combine those people and be the same person every day. Think about what you want and make decisions based on that.
So what would you identify as the red flags about yourself that you've learned that you're currently trying to work on?
The impulsivity.
What do you mean by impulsivity?
Saying things out of turn or acting on things that might be like a thought that's gonna, pass. Like I think there's nothing wrong with having a lot of the thoughts that I had, having a negative thought about someone, thinking something in the moment. It's just like when you say them out loud, certainly when you put them in text message, that lasts for a lot longer. And this has been a great lesson in that. So that's something for sure. And then just being really clear about boundaries on my side and on others. Like I think I kind of go along with things till I'm at a breaking point. And even that breaking point, it's not something where I erupt. It's just something where I might do something sneaky or shady. And that's what happened there. Like, I don't want to be that person. I need to speak up as uncomfortable as a situation may be. And even if it hurts someone momentarily, like I've got to know that the long-term plan, and even if it doesn't, that's saying it so innocently, even if it doesn't work out for me, let's say, like to show my cards, I've got to be willing to accept that.
Yeah.
And it will get me to that long-term plan. So just a lot of communication with emotions and having those difficult conversations.
Would you continue in the 90-day universe, or do you think you're done with reality TV?
I mean, obviously speaking today, I'm not real excited about reality TV. Never say never, though, right?
Okay. So you would continue on, given the opportunity.
If it were the right opportunity, I probably would.
Would you date on TV again?
Right now, the answer is like a hell no. But again, like, who knows what the future holds?
Do you have any message to Elise or Tiffany?
I think to Tiffany, I would say, like, thank you. Like, you've taught me some really valuable lessons. You know, like, I have like a lot of respect and admiration for you, and like, you know, I was totally genuine, and I should have been more. You know, I was genuine with all the positives. I just should have been more forthcoming with the negatives, and I appreciate you helping me along my journey. And my message to Elise would be, I mean, I want to start with apologizing. Like, I know that, like, I had passed judgment on her, and I really didn't care about her feelings at the time. And I don't know why. I pushed her away. And, yeah, I mean, she was really important part of my life, and definitely, I know it doesn't seem that way, but probably one of the closest connections I've had romantically. So I think like she deserved a lot better. She put in the, you know, and she could have been better herself with a lot of different things. I just wish that I had kind of given her like her storybook ending, or at least given it like the good old college try like she wanted to.
What do you think prevented you from doing that?
I think what happened was obviously like going back to Tiffany was not going to be good for Elise and I's long-term future. And I thought like, hey, if like I'm not going to date anybody outside, I think I just was selfish and, you know, cared more about what people thought than even thought about what I wanted. Like I was just like, oh, everybody's going to hate me, and the rest of this experience is going to be miserable. We're out on an island alone, and I feel the thing that I feel worst about is leaving Elise out on an island alone, like for like, you know, 2, 3, 4 days there, and yeah, I wish that's the number one thing I wish I could take back.
Well, thank you for coming on the show, Carlo.
Thank you, Zack.
You survived the hot seat.
Yeah, got me a little choked up there.
Do you think that there's a future for you and Elise?
You know, again, never say never.
So you're still open to it?
I think it's a challenge for sure. We've put a lot of things, like when you look at like you know, including the tell-all, we've both like put each other through really tough situations, and obviously it's a lot easier to start over fresh with someone. And not have those challenges in your way. And you know, I don't even think Elise and I check all of each other's boxes or even close to it, but there's that connection. And, you know, that one that you can't describe, where you can spend hours with someone and it just feels like minutes.
Yeah.
So
we'll see what the future holds.
yeah.
Thank you for coming on, Carlo.
Thank you, Zack. I really appreciate it.
Any other closing thoughts, feelings, vibes?
Yeah, I'm just like grateful for the opportunity, you know, that you've shared with me, and like, you know, really grateful for, you know, the whole production. You know, everything isn't always what you see on camera. There's definitely a much bigger story out there, but I'm totally grateful for that lesson, to see things from someone else's perspective, or maybe from like a limited point of view, where like, hey, like, you know, this is what you're doing and it's time to change the pattern.
Yeah. All right. Where can people follow you if they, or is there social media you're putting out there?
Yeah, I'm a little shy on it right now. It's Carlo Palooza on Instagram. That's it. Carlo Palooza.
Carlo Palooza on Instagram. You can follow me at Just Plain Zack. Follow the podcast at No Filter with Zack, and catch new episodes streaming on YouTube. Weekday mornings, Monday through Friday, also available to watch on Spotify and listen on Apple Podcasts and all other podcast platforms. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button before you head out, and don't forget to hit the like button, and I will catch you next time. Bye.